Hi, everybody. Welcome to Sunset Stitches. It's Free Font Friday, and I'm Trevor Conquergood, and I hope you're having a wonderful day. We are excited here at Sunset Stitches, not only because it's Friday, and that means we've had a good work week, but there's a free font, that you can collect every Friday from Sunset Stitches, and the one this week is called To the Point. Anyway, I've got my son here today. He's feeling considerably better. And so thanks. Hi, Nick. How's it going? If you guys are dropping in and you want to say hi to Nicholas in the chat box, go right ahead. But Nicholas is helping me man the controls today and also doing some digitizing. And anyway, every Friday we release a new free font at Sunset Stitches, and you guys are welcome to drop in and pick it up anytime during the week. Of course, unless you're a member of our FTC workshop classes, and then you can come anytime you want. And I'm so glad you're here, Cindy, because I have your name written down. You won a postcard. I'm pretty sure that it was because, let me see here. Where did I write that? Oh, yeah, here. YouTube. You went to YouTube and commented on the YouTube post. And so congratulations, Cindy. I would like to send you a postcard. So if you don't mind to send me an email or a Facebook Messenger post works, send me your mailing address and I'll put my picture on it too. They look like this when they go out here. Let me cover up somebody's address, but I'll put my picture on it and I'll say thank you so much for commenting and visiting. Anyway, if you guys comment today, you have another chance to win. I have another winner, by the way, and it's Sharon Wentworth. Sharon commented on our Facebook post last week, and I think Sharon commented several times. And of course, if you comment more than once, it kind of increases your odds. But Sharon's here today too. Is Sharon here? Congratulations. That is great. Okay, so you guys are regular visitors and we love you for it. This is my new card. So I have I love you cards for you guys. Sharon, Cindy, you guys are getting I love you cards, but I think I'm officially out of I love you cards. So I'm moving on to the come home soon card. And so I'm going to send you guys, I know it's kind of funny because you obviously don't need to come home soon, but it'll be a fun postcard to get anyway. That said, I'm working on my Winnie the Pooh postcards and I will have one coming soon. So yeah, anyway, if you can make a comment or a post, every comment counts as a chance to win. So go ahead. Don't forget to visit and get your free font of the week. So every week, Nicholas and I kind of go live at 3 p.m. Eastern time, which is 1 p.m. here in Saskatoon, at least this time of year, because we don't change our clocks in Saskatoon. So come, I guess, October, it'll change for us, whereas 3 p.m. for you guys is always 3 p.m. Unless you're out on the left coast, in which case I guess we come on at noon, right? Every Friday at noon in Vancouver. So have you guys been following my Wednesday Digitalk class? Oh, I didn't show I should at least either cover up this picture and just go full face, or I should make it show the font at least, right? Because it still said find out live, but the font is To the Point. And so here, let's put the pictures up for a second again. To the Point. In fact, here, do that one. Yeah, the bigger one. I'll just show you guys quickly. There's my new font. It's To the Point. To me, it kind of reminds me of like old world, writing. Like I could see it in the Book of Kells or something, right? Somebody putting their name in there or something. But it's got very thin sides and then very thick sides. And so it does limit kind of the size range. I think we decided about a half an inch should be fine. But not really much taller than about 45 millimeters tall kind of thing, 1.8 inches. Unless you put a split on it, right? And so you'll notice when I stitched it out that I used a pattern fill to make it bigger. So you could make it, these are probably that, I think Trevor's right around the 1 inch. And so these are probably like a little bit over an inch. And this one's kind of a little under. That's like your half inch size there. Yeah, every week we do a new font, and this week it's called To the Point, you guys. Please join it. This is what I was saying. Every Wednesday, this is something new. We just started 3 weeks ago. Last week was week number 3, and Loren was with me in the house doing digitizing. Loren is my other kid. I have 3 that live here, and Loren is actually the oldest. Yeah, and Nicholas is her brother. Anyway, it was fun. Nick, unfortunately, was not well this week and had to miss having his sister in, but she sat right here and sketched some flowers. And I think Cindy says Loren was good. So I agree, Loren was good. Anyway, it's nice to see you guys tuning in. I also I've been working on in my Digitalk classes the Winnie the Pooh designs, and so the deal here is, everything that I'm doing kind of live. If you're already a member of my classes or my clubs, then you get it, and that's kind of how you get it, right? If you want to get it and you're not a member, then I guess you just join Trevor's Workshop for, you can get it for $99 basically. And if you pay the $99, you get access to the Digitalk archives is what it is, because every week I've kind of had a collection of designs. Those are just the Winnie the Pooh ones. I did a whole series of stitch designs for Digitalk this week. So yeah. Anyway, I see lots of people are saying thank you for the designs, and you're welcome, Virginia. It's absolutely my pleasure. And it's nice to see you today, Cheryl. Are you guys excited for the challenge next week? Because you know that our workshop for challenge is Spirograph. And I just can't wait to share with everybody the designs that I've been receiving for that. It's going to be one of the best ones. Next week, my Digitalk is going to be on layered applique. So just know that you guys are welcome to come on. But if you miss those ones, they're all on my website. If you visit the website, and if I could just pop up, oh gosh, here, you'll have to look at yourself for a minute or that, but let me do this. Okay. So Sunset Stitches, right? That's our website. And then you click to enter. And then what I'm saying is Digitalk and Embroidery Recipe Box. So Fridays, if we do something really great, we kind of publish it up here. Digitalk is every Wednesday. And so these are the places where you could rewatch them. If you're like, what happened on Wednesday with Loren, and you can't find it on YouTube or, whatever, this could be watched kind of like from beginning to end that way, right? So it's a 1-hour program. Loren and I did the embroidery designs. You'll get Loren's designs next week. That's kind of how it works, right? It's like whatever I work on in 1 week, you'll get the next week. So this week, I was working on the 100-acre wood, although I've been working on the 100-acre wood for a couple weeks now, because that's quite a design. But I did quickly do a little sketch for you guys. This was this week's, free. Anyhow, if you're a member of my classes, all these designs are, available for you guys to download. But it's been kind of fun doing it live. So if you're wondering what we're going to do today, because it's Free Font Friday, and Nicholas and I were talking about opening up to questions and doing some questions and answers. So I have a few things to show. Isn't that cool? That was from our, we're having a retreat, by the way. So this is for members of Workshop 2. And I was kind of laughing because I had to watch the very first, I was trying to remember how I did this. It was 2016 when I stitched it out the first time, and I wanted to revisit it in class yesterday and show what the theory is and why we would make such a stitch out like that, right? But doesn't everybody want to make it? And this is a smaller one that you can fit in your 4-inch hoop, and you can basically just pick out 3 shades of red and a yellow or a gray and a white, and just blend. It's about studying blending colors together, and that's what our retreat's about. So it's for the people that are members of my workshop number 2. And if that is you, and you missed the live class, the download will be ready later today. I'm still working on it, actually. Before we got to class, I was working on that. And these were some of the stitch outs from the one. Yeah, we did a lot of stitch outs for the cool different blending tools, because Floriani has some really cool um, gradient stitch effects, right? To do blending color. This is a 2-color wave blend. I think this one here was my favorite, but they're all different. I like to try the buttons and see what the different settings are. And I figure if you don't change them and then do a little stitch out, you'll never remember, right? So that's kind of the cool thing. So Workshop 2 was, Workshop 2 ended years ago. So it's a little bit weird right now, but in March and April, we did a workshop #1 members retreat. And those classes are complete. So if you are a member of Workshop 1 and you're like, I don't know about that, then you need to get in touch with me so that I can get you in touch with the designs or the classes, and you can download them. Yeah, it's kind of how it works. Every Friday we'll have a new Free Font Friday. And by the way, if you own the Floriani software, don't forget to visit the RNK Software Club's website, where you can download the latest designs of the month. And so here are the stitch outs. That one's a cute little applique of an elephant. And what does this say? Oh, wrong way, Trevor. 'Tis the season, and it's kind of like not the same season that you might be thinking of when you hear it, right? 'Tis the season. Cute. Anyway, like it. So what I was saying earlier was, if you guys have any questions, I'm happy to do sort of a few, take a few. If you want to talk about something, I'm going to share my screen again. And I want to show you guys the RNK Software Club website, because I think that's such an important part of owning the Floriani software. And by the way, if you don't own the Floriani software, you should visit this website, and notice up here. And remember, I got to put my yellow ring around my cursor. It helps when I go on screen there. So up here, rnksoftware.club. That is the website where all people who have Floriani software will visit, and you will go to the Creative Express or whatever software you own. So, of course, if you have the Deluxe, it's called Floriani Total Control U. If you have embroidery software called Floriani Fusion, that's right here. And that would be the perfect software for like a new embroidery owner. Just click on Floriani Fusion. You can learn all about it. You can watch the training videos for it, get the download, the manual, bonus assets, that kind of stuff, right? But what you'll find out is it's actually all the same download. Like literally, when you visit, no matter which Floriani program that you own or may like to ever own, the C stands for Creative Express, and that's the free version. And you would just click here to start the download, and you would download the embroidery program, and then you would install it. So I just deactivated all of my software. So when I start it, and I just click to start it, so it'll take a moment, and it's going to open up. And when it opens up, you'll see that it's called Floriani Creative Express. And what I'm telling you is, this is our, and when I say our, I get, I feel like I confuse people. So I want to explain something. See, there's the software, Floriani. It's the RNK Software Club. And this is the Today page, right? And that's the program. I can close the Today page, and ta-da, there's my program. Now, because I haven't activated my paid software, it's simply what we call, and now back to the pronoun we meaning RNK Distributing. And so because I work for RNK and I'm the software manager at RNK, I often say our and we, and then people, I feel like when I watch back later, it's not clear what I'm talking about, because I'm Trevor from Sunset Stitches also. And so technically that's where I am. I live. This is my home. Sunset Stitches is my embroidery studio. It's the name of my personal business. And that's where Nicholas works. RNK Distributing is based in Knoxville, Tennessee, and make the world's most amazing embroidery software, as well as beautiful embroidery thread, stabilizers that, to dream of, and I have them all, so, and So maybe I'm just the world's biggest Walter Floriani fan. I'm not sure. Walter was a friend of mine, and we were DJ and I were talking about this the other day, that so many people don't even know who Walter are, and we feel like we need to make sure people hear about Walter. And because even though Walter passed away in 2020, his legacy will never end in embroidery, and people will always, it's one of those things that he'll have influenced probably everybody that does embroidery, and they won't know that it was Walter. So we'll tell more Walter stories here at Sunset Stitches. So I got my Floriani free software up, and when I say we, sometimes I mean me and Nicholas here at Sunset Stitches, and sometimes I mean me and the gang at RNK Distributing in this wonderful program called Creative Express, right? And so when you have Creative Express, probably the coolest thing, I guess it depends on what you're interested in, but I can just come over here and, choose the folders of my computer, any folder. I also have a library. So if you want to save things in your sort of library, then it's like a special place for you. But for example, here's the Digitalk. There's folder 1. And if I look at designs, those were the designs, that's the one that I did for Digitalk Class 1. You could watch it stitch out. I always think it's so interesting to see how these sketches kind of get stitched out, because you can almost imagine me drawing it like that. I of course didn't draw this, but I traced it right from the I hope you guys don't, I'm not trying to take credit for that, but I did the tracing of the original artwork. In Digitalk 2, you got the next little Winnie the Pooh sketch. But then I was working on my spiralgraphs, right? And there was a bunch of spiralgraph designs for that one. And then in Digitalk 3, so see how if I click on 3 and I click on designs, it's that. And if you got lots of designs, you can actually just pull this over and see them. Like, so for example, if I click on my embroidery club, I think I've got my embroidery club designs in here all into one big folder, right? So now I can just go like looking through my collection. And I think this is completely free, you guys. Like, anybody that owns an embroidery machine might like to be able to browse through their collection. Because I mean, I know that you guys are collecting, right? Everybody that I know that owns an embroidery machine has collected a lot of embroidery designs. And so it's nice to be able to browse through them, see them, interact with them, at very least remember that you bought them, right? Because sometimes in Windows it's a little bit kind of graphical and it just says design number or formats and everything, and here it's just images, and I like that a lot. So that's one of my favorite things about this free program. But if you buy it, and so here I am in my free software, and I can browse designs, and I can use the little slow redraw tool to kind of watch them stitch out on the screen, and understand how they, isn't that spirograph cool to watch? The way it embroiders like that. I had so much fun playing with the Floriani software. And if you guys came today and you want to ask a question, we're going to run out of things that Trevor's planned to talk about if you don't. So, I mean, you know me better than that. I'll just keep talking. But that said, you're welcome to put a question up there and we'll see what we get. Okay, so what I'm going to do is show you, this is the free Creative Express program. I haven't, but if I wanted to, for example, if you went to the store and bought Fusion, because that would be great. There's bundles right now for that Fusion, and I just have to see my face for a minute, but it's like, what? There's some really amazing special bundles for new owners. I know a lot of people are going to probably find out about it with their new embroidery machine, because they're, Fusion is often bundled with an embroidery machine by a lot of our stores. And so if you have that software, you can activate it, right? You would download the Creative Express, but then when you take your code and you put it in, you get a bunch more stuff. That's basically how it works, right? It's like the same install starts as Creative Express, but then you can add Sketch-A-Stitch to that. You can add Lettering Master to that. You can add Rainbow to that. This starts, $99 is like the base, and then you can kind of work your way up. I think, that Fusion, you're probably going to be in that $800 price range, I think, for something like that. And I don't sell the stuff, so don't ask me about that. You have to go into your local sewing store, especially the ones that sell Floriani, right? And they can get you more information. But if you download the software, anybody can do that. I'm just promoting to check it out, right? If you don't own it, at least get it, because watch what I could do. Make me big again, okay, Nick? Would you? If I go under help, there's a drop down menu. You've got demo mode. Anybody, even if you have bought Fusion, you can still use demo mode, because demo mode allows you to try all of the software. And if you do demo mode and don't uncheck anything, then it'll be kind of like Trevor's software when he's doing the video. So it asked me if I want to save what I was working on, this little layout of Winnie the Pooh and Skit Spiral, but no, that's okay. We didn't need to save it. So I'll say no. And it's going to close and like reopen. So it takes a moment because it shuts down. And when it restarts, it's actually going to show us, look, the whole program. Even if you don't own it, you can try it, you guys. And this is amazing. Now, I'm not looking at Creative Express. I'm looking at the Floriani Universal Bundle. Like, I'm literally looking at all of the software layered together. So this whole toolbar right here is like total quilter buttons. And right here, there's my little Sketch-A-Stitch button, right? If you want to try Sketch-A-Stitch before you bought it, just go ahead and grab your little widget like that, and choose a color, whatever color you want to work with, and click and drag to make some embroidery. It's kind of like that. That's how Sketch-A-Stitch. So the point here is, if you don't own it and you want to try it, see how I can click and drag, and then it makes a line. And if I choose calligraphy, then it's like it does kind of like a thick and thin type of thing. And anyway, this is you could try them before you buy them. And if you would, when I did it, you could uncheck to do that. So, hey, Nikki, did you get a question there?
Kathy is wondering, will there be any new updates to MDA?
Well, that's a good question, Kathy. I sure hope so. I have a big list of wishes for that program, and it's been a great long-term program for Floriani, and so it's in the queue to be updated, just because we always maintain our software. But there's also discussion about, what else could we do to make it more interesting or better. So that is one of the great things with Floriani. At very least, I think you can expect to see a sort of a light update to give new formats, like the new PES, whatever version 11, and the new, there's always sort of updates to the embroidery world. And not to mention Windows, right, is always updating. So yes, the answer is absolutely. We do maintain all of the Floriani software. But what I was saying was, we also have a wish list for programs like that. And I don't know, I can't promise anything, because until something's made, you never give a promise. But good question. Will there be an update? The answer is yes. And the one thing, if people are watching and they don't know, Floriani, let me bring up our website. Here I saying our again. Let me bring up the RNK Software Club website. I'll try to be more clear. This is kind of interesting to me, because if you click on the home page, you can see all of the programs here. And so the one that she was asking about, My Design Album, is right here, right? And that is a different install from the Floriani install. It's a totally separate program. You would click right there, to download it and install it. And when it gets updated, that is where it would, be available to you. If I click back on the home button and I go into the Floriani embroidery software, there is I think this is interesting. Where is it now? I'm just trying to say the build history right here. It's one of the sort of smaller gray ones. If I click on that, it actually shows me from, before Trevor even used the program. I started using it, I think, here around the latter part of 2014. And My first workshop started in the March of 2015. This is the build we were on. So I've used every build of these builds. I've seen it grow. But the program started 10 years before this with a different software partner. It was actually a different program, but since we partnered with our current software partner, which is of course, Pulse, all these amazing builds, and you can click on them. Like, that's the latest one. Just click right there. And these are the newest things in it. There's what am I trying to say? A video archive. And anyway, so were you going to ask a question, Nick? Oh, sorry. I thought you started talking. Yeah. Anyway, if you want to know what builds and when the latest one is, you always kind of go, if you're, excuse me, I got a frog in my throat. If you're in the software, this is also interesting, I think, for people to know. So I'm still in demo mode right here. And one thing I didn't tell you about demo mode, in case you thought, wow, that's a lot of free software. No. The one thing I will say is you can't save anything. Notice the save button is grayed out. So when you're in demo, and the print, you can't print anything. So the two most important kind of payoffs to using a program, either saving or printing, are disabled until you either activate something. So if you did buy it, if you were like, no, actually, I did buy that Fusion software, you would go on the help menu, and then you would go into your license activator, right? And that's where you can see all the options that there are, and you would choose the one that you bought. There's a couple that are in here twice, and I hope that at some point can be cleaned up, because it says Sketch-A-Stitch and Sketch-A-Stitch standalone. Well, I don't know what to tell you. Try one, and if your code doesn't work, try the other. There's a technical reason why they're there, and I don't think you'd be able to even explain it to you. But just know that that's how you activate it, right? You put your code in, and then what happens is that it the next time you start it, more buttons start to appear. So to get back to my whatever level you have when you're in demo mode, if you want to kind of get out of it, what you do is you actually just close the program. And then when you click to start your Floriani software again, it'll go back to whatever you have paid for. So that's interesting. It's even helpful for teachers, to be able to show the different levels. Yes, Nick.
Pamela was asking, what does the quilt part of the software do, Trevor?
Oh, well, that's a great question, Pamela. What time is it? Oh, it's about 1:30. Sure. Why don't we look a little bit of that? Now, the truth is I'll have to go into demo mode, or at least because I'm not activated. So I went back to Creative Express. Currently, only tools available to me are the free ones, right? So the main free ones, like the design browsing. Remember last week we talked about color matching, right? So if you open an embroidery design and it has multiple colors in it, and you want to change them, and see it says Floriani Poly, but I love the closest matching, right? Because I can just click this little button right here and tell it, match my design to another thread chart. Maybe you bought some of that Jenny Haskins thread back in the day, right? Click the button and boom, now you got your closest match Jenny Haskins numbers. So I think that's kind of a cool, there's a few things that you can do without buying any software from Floriani that I just think, why wouldn't you get it? Aside from the fact that it is the only way that you can use the fonts that Trevor makes, right? Because if you want to collect my fonts, you need to get your embroidery text tool, which is available. Now I got to choose a font that's, so these are the fonts that Nicholas and I have been creating and releasing and adding, and they can be added to your free software, and you can do all kinds of really cool things with them. So not bad, hey, Nick, for he's so I gotta
Sandy said, so in demo mode you can't stitch out anything, you can't stitch out anything, just play with software?
Yeah, pretty much that's it, Sandy. It's like, really, if you were like, well, I bought Fusion, you invested a few, you bought a machine and it came with Fusion, and you keep hearing about this FTCU, you know, you're going to the event with Trevor or DJ or Judy, and you're wanting to check it out, you know, well, that's, you can check it out all you want before you buy it. So even if you own some of it, you can try the parts you don't have. If you don't have Sketch-A-Stitch, you're like, why is everybody talk about Sketch-A-Stitch? What's this Sketch-A-Stitch? You just go up to your help menu and you click on your demo mode. And so the way it kind of goes is Fusion, and then it says Floriani Fusion upgrade. Well, technically the first two, if I uncheck these, so Fusion is the sort of like new owner Floriani embroidery software. Fusion with the upgrade is what we call FTCU. So that's your kind of like completed or fully featured, you know, all the tools, right? And then you can add to that Sketch-A-Stitch. This is a standalone. Lettering Master is a standalone. Rainbow is a standalone. If you're like, I don't know any of them, but what's this Rainbow all about? You could just try Rainbow, you know. And now when I come back into it, and I will do Total Quilter next. But let's just see what changes if I go to Rainbow. So do I want to save this, what I was working on? No. But now I open it back up again, and it'll have added any tools that come with the program called Rainbow. And so the main one, I think, would be, of course, the Rainbow tool itself. So let's look at that. It's right here, Rainbow. And when you click on it, it like takes your lettering, my text, and introduces a color palette of whichever rainbow you want to choose. So here's your kind of like traditional rainbow kind of one. And you would just say, okay, and now you got rainbow colored text. You know, that's kind of how it works. So, okay, but we can't save it. So we can't actually use Rainbow. And so let's close it. And since Sandy asked about Total Quilter, I'm going to show you a little bit about that one.
I'm not sure what Cindy's saying, but maybe you'll understand it. Cindy just said, I can see your spiral in the corner squares of table runners.
Oh, yeah. Me too. Spirograph, she means, right? She's saying when those little medallions be cool in like the little corner blocks of a quilt.
Oh, I see.
Yeah, I see it, Cindy, too. I agree. That sounds cool. No, that's just the thing. Those designs are perfect for quilting. Like, exceptionally perfect because they're very light embroidery. They're all run stitched. There's almost no jumps as long as you know how to do it, right? So now we're back to the free one again, right? Because Trevor deactivated all his software today. So I have nothing activated because I thought we would talk about Creative Express. But now somebody asked, who was it? Pamela said, let's look at, so I'll go demo mode. What if I bought Total Quilter, right? What's that program do? So by unchecking everything else, it kind of lets me see what are the tools that come with Total Quilter. So if you own Floriani, you could check off Floriani, you know, and then check off Total Quilter. So then it would be like, oh, what would it be like if I added Total Quilter to what I already own? What I'm showing you is what it would look like if you only bought Total Quilter and not the Floriani embroidery. And so the main thing that you'll really notice is different is there's not nearly as many tools. The Floriani embroidery would probably fill up the rest of the toolbar spaces, and it would 100% fill up the styles of embroidery because the quilting software really just adds the quilting stitches. So it comes with a few of the basic stitches that kind of come with all the embroidery programs, but the FTCU has like a whole bunch more. And so, so back to the question Pamela asked, which is what do you get with Total Quilter? Well, first things first, there's two different kinds of blocks. These are block libraries. And of course you have tools to make your own blocks, but this one's an artwork block library. So there is no pre-made stitching. It's just literally the artwork blocks. And you could, you know, bring these in and use them to imagine your quilts. But you know, you could add stitching to them and create your own embroidery patterns from them. All of the piece. I could click on this and click on ungroup up at the top, right? here. And then now I can select, and literally, interact with the pieces of my quilt block. But I think where it gets exponentially cooler is when you get to the purple library, because the purple library gives you ready to embroider quilt blocks. So now when I open up one, you'll notice that it has some binding embroidery stitches on it already. Of course, you have the ability to click on them and select them, and then change the pattern, right? And then it comes with extra ones. So when you buy Total Quilter, you do get additional motif patterns, as well as you get additional sort of stitch styles like the texture, advanced stippling. You get the echo quilting. So what those are handy for is not so much that, like, these are the binding stitches that sew together your fabrics. The stitches down here are more for people that might want to take and create what we call in the hoop quilting. So for example, I could select that light blue color just by clicking on it. And now I can come down here and I can click on my advanced stipple options and put in stitching, in that color. And I can click on the navy and, and come in here and put in a stitching in that area. And so I think that what this does is it makes it possible for the average person to design these things, right? Because most people, it's just a lot of little steps to be able to do it without this kind of like tool that we've designed. And back to doing again, this tool that RNK, that Total Quilter offers. Another thing, so now I can go back to my library and go into my designs and look for one that's, I like to see more than a couple at a time. So if I click right there and I drag, I can, see a bigger selection and scroll through and what do you want to put in your center, and just imagine what it could be. I don't know, a castle. Perfect, right? So you bring it in and, oh, it's too big, so you select your castle. And so it's embroidery software that also makes quilt designs. Really, they're embroidery designs. They're that's kind of what you do. And then you would select this block and you would select your little embroidery design and you would use the paper clip here to attach it. So that tells the program that they become like combined, right? So now that's one unit of your quilt, if you will, right? It's like you can get rid of the rest of this mess if you want. You don't have to keep it, or you could build another one. But those ones were raw artwork, whereas this one, it's all ready to go, Pamela. Like, now we could export it, if we had paid for it, because I can't export with the demo version, right? But the export buttons, there's 3 options: export as an applique quilt block, export as a faux piecing block, and export as an applique block. And they're all kind of similar, but have slight differences to them. But what happens is you end up in your library with a folder like this, and it would make a file that would have in it the wireframe outline of the block. Then it would have all the embroidery stitches of the block. It would have all the pieces of the block. So if you want to use a digital cutter, it'll make all your pieces to digitally cut your pieces. If you'd rather print them, there's an option when you export it to do a printed template as opposed to a digital template. So if you're wanting to make printed templates and cut them, so what it kind of does, and I'll show you one more thing and then I'll shut up. But it was a great question, and I appreciate you asking, Pamela, because Nick and I were like, let's open it up. Let's do Quiet Friday questions. So what I'm saying here is, if you go on this tool, create a block, now I can draw like whatever size block you want, and then I can draw the divides, the where will I put. So let's do what you might call crazy quilting. Is that, yeah, I don't know. If I right click, I've made a block, and now I can take my select tool and select the pieces of my block and come down here and say, that's the, fabric color for this piece. And, and that's the fabric color for this piece. And for that matter, I've got a big pop-up color palette. So if I want to choose that one as the fabric color and then come up here and choose that one as a fabric color, or click another piece, sorry, and then choose that one as a fabric color. So now I've colored my block up. I could click on the lines and then tell it that it's going to be a run stitch, choose one of my fancy binding motifs, to do that kind of like quilting on it. So it's very easy to design your own quilt box, Pamela. And that's really what it's for. So here, I'm going to come back on so I can see the comments a bit bigger. I always, because you may or may not know that we now have Quilter Select has a quilt software called Design and Quilt. And I love them both. I mean, and of course I have them both because I'm part of managing and developing them both with our wonderful team at R&K. Well, the quilting software and the embroidery software are different. And what I just showed you is the Total Quilter. That's our embroidery quilter. That adds on to your embroidery software. When you buy both, you've got all our Total Quilter tools plus all our Floriani embroidery tools. That makes quite a super toolbox, right? Of a lot of software in there. But the Quilter Select one does not partner up with the Floriani. It does do a little bit of embroidery, but you won't buy Quilter Select to replace your Floriani. It wouldn't. You might own Quilter Select and still want to buy Floriani because you do both. But the Quilter Select one is for a true quilter, not an embroiderer. It's not. You don't buy it because it does. And did you just give me one sec question? And I'll take that, Nick. The Total Quilter is meant for the person who would like their embroidery machine to do their quilt block. It makes applique and appli quilt and faux piecing embroidery designs a snap, and it's a process that Floriani's created, I think, and certainly mastered if you want to, but it's very easy to do quilting. How far do I got to go to grab one of my quilts? I'm like, grab me one of those two little ones that are just over yonder. Like there's a black and gold one straight ahead, Nick. It's finished. It's little. Just keep walking straight. I can see it right there on your hand. There, yeah. Grab anything quilted right there. This is Total Quilter that, I don't think I would have had the guts to make. I made this. This is like this might even be my very first quilt that I made totally myself. Total Quilter made that possible. Now that I'm part of Design and Quilt and I'm part of Quilter Select, I've been making some pretty cool. I learned all about piecing, and when you piece, then you'll recognize the difference, right? That this is embroidery piecing, right? This was pieced and quilted. I even used metallic thread to do the quilting. I always thought that was cool. But it's so soft. I mean, that's one of my goals. Whenever I talk about quilting, I'm always like, what do you put in your quilts? Because I don't want mine to get stiff and right. And if I'm going to put embroidery, I still want it to be a soft quilt. And so no tearaway stabilizers in my quilt, that's for sure. Anyway, we're way off track now, aren't we, Nick? So Quilter Select. Maybe someday I'll do some more Quilt Select, Design and Quilt videos, because I think that program's fascinating. But it really the payoff there is more about the printed, Pamela. If you get Quilter Select, it's really more about getting templates for your foundational paper piecing. It's about getting fabric lists for how much fabric you need to buy. It's about getting rotary cutting instructions to rotary cut your fabrics. If you get Total Quilter, it's about using your software to prepare designs to work with your embroidery machine. You're going to be doing applique style quilting. They're different. Yeah, thank you, Sharon, saying my quilt. This one, I've carried this around to a lot of stores. This quilt hung at Houston International Quilt Festival in our booth, right? Not in the hall. In the quilt, when I say in our booth, I mean in the R&K distributing booth. We used it as a small display. But all that said, people were walking up and looking at it, and I was like, oh, kind of proud of myself, right? Wow, I'm showing something in a quilt world when I'm an embroiderer. But what I always say to the quilters that come to look at my embroidery is, don't focus on the binding, right? I'm still learning to do that. You don't need to zoom in on the binding. But I do. But you give that to Nicholas, and he'd never know what binding even was. He thinks it looks amazing, right? So, yeah, thanks, Nick. Yep.
Janet is asking,
Mm-hmm.
can you make a paper piercing pattern in the quilting program?
Yes. It's pretty cool, actually, because it's literally kind of as easy as taking the box and drawing the lines across it. And there's a button that'll prepare it so that for the foundational paper piecing, it's automated. It just makes the patterns. And if you need to break it into sections, because there's a lot of times foundational paper piecing is done with like section 1 and section 2 and section 3, and the software will automatically figure it out for you. But if you're smarter and you're like, oh, I don't know why it thinks that, so I'm going to do this one and that 2 and this 3, then you can do it manually. So that is something that's very cool. Would you like to see it? Let me start it up here, and I'll bring up my it's opening now, the Quilter Select software, right? So now we've kind of deviated from Pamela's question about the Floriani Total Quilter, and now we're looking at, I just opened up Quilter Select Design and Quilt, you guys. So what a funny video today. I've shown a lot of different things in here. Not planned. This is what happens when you're not planned. That's fine. I'm enjoying myself, so we'll go for a little bit longer here. So can you do foundational paper piecing? Now let me just open up a block. So just like the other program, there is a library of blocks, and it has like different categories of blocks that you could choose from, and different styles of blocks. And if you get a block like this and you want to do it in the foundational paper piecing style, this is the button, foundational pay. And when you click on it, it comes up and you can say auto assign. And this is what I was saying. It's like says A1, A2, A3, A4, A5. Most people will be like, why would it then you're like manual assign, let's do 1, then 2, then 3, and then 4, and then 5. I don't know. It even if you pick a more substantial block, right? I think that's where maybe the block that I selected was just not, as or elaborate as something like this one might be. And this one here, notice these little, you might see this as like an L or an angle or a kind of but really in the quilt world, it's this little piece, that slightly bigger piece, slightly bigger piece, slightly smaller piece. If you click on the foundational paper piecing tool and ask it to auto assign, it'll figure out how to, this is what I was saying about sections, right? And then now that that's all done, you can click the play button and it kind of shows you how to construct it. And like I said, if you wanted to micromanage your piece order, you can totally do that and just click manual assign. Now, if I click on my print preview button, it will give me, depending on what I ask for, but I'm going to ask for the foundational paper piecing instructions. So these are the pages that it gives me. So here's your block overview. Here are all the pieces that are needed to make that block, and all there's also 2 green ones and 2 blue ones, and basically 2 of each one, different size triangle of each one. You can click here to go to the next page, and there's your fabric list. If this was a whole quilt, then this would be a little bit larger lists kind of thing. I'm just doing it for one block. So the block doesn't fit on one piece of paper, so it's been divided that you could piece it back together. And then the pieces too are larger. So this must block be like a 12-inch block, or at least an 8-inch block, because they're that. So these are the sections that it makes. So you would create this, you would literally print this, sew onto it, and then you would sew the sections together to put your whole thing together. And these are the different pages that it made. And now all the little piece templates. So notice when I click that settings that you don't have, if you don't, you're like, oh my goodness, that's a lot of, paper. I don't need all the pieces. I didn't need those ones. You can uncheck that, right? And then those pages will go away from your print preview kind of thing. And so it makes it less pages to print. Yeah. So, okay. I don't know. I went way off topic for what anybody was actually asking about, but that's, Total Quilter. Like if I go back to my quilt library, and these are Alex Anderson quilts, and I can just click on a project that's been saved. And so here you've got like an entire quilt that's been designed that has, blocks that are in the center. It's got like borders, and it's got piece borders. It's got applique pieces. And if you click on print preview, you get quite a elaborate, listing of information that you get to, and like I said, you don't have to print every page if you just want to look through it even and get the information. But there's your piece list for like your whole quilt, including all the different applique pieces that you would need, and it'll tell you how many of this flower, 9 of this one and 4 of that one, and all the fabric that you would need to make that whole quilt. Yeah, and then how to cut it. This is these are rotary cutting instructions. So now it's going to say things like, cut a strip of 44 inches of fabric at 3 1/4 and subcut that into 3, so make so many 3 1/4 inch squares, and then subcut those to make triangles. And, and they'll be, anyway, I'm going to stop. Jumping all over the place today, Nick. We got Total Quilter in there. We got Design and Quilt in there. We were talking about Creative Express, you guys. So what a strange video. The one thing I will say is, if you did drop by, please say hi for a chance to win one of our postcards. And Cassie, this is yours. It's still here, by the way, but I'm shipping it today. I promise I'm going to go to the mail, because I literally have the 4 from the last 2 weeks. And now I'm going to get 2 more today. So I hope to go later today with all 6 to the post office if I can get. So everybody who are our winners today, they're here, Sharon and Cindy. Make sure you guys get me your address, and I'll take them all to the post office. Whew. Well, it's Free Font Friday, and I'm happy to say I'm almost ready to go. Our youngest daughter, Reese, has a piece of art in a group show at the university. And so we're going to see it tonight at the Snellgrove Gallery, where her mom has showed and her big sister has showed. Now the little sister is showing. This is my recipe for everyone that wants to learn the Floriani software. It's not a recipe, it's a prescription. Joanne made this for me. I stitched it, but Joanne made the design because I give this prescription out, and I thought I'd share with you guys as a little wrap up. If you really want to learn the Floriani software, you need to use it daily, and you need to use it for fun and not for making Christmas presents. You need to set aside time to just play, and you don't have to do it forever and ever. But if you want to be a master at it, then you will do it forever and ever, but you don't have to do it every day once you've learned the basics. But I like to think that it would take at least 2 weeks, perhaps a month, 15 to 20 minutes every day just to play. Click a button. Oh, that's what it does. Press delete. Don't stress over it. Make it fun time. It's not about, I need to get this Christmas present made. I have a birthday party this afternoon. Why did I leave this to the last minute? I thought I knew how to use these tools. Can you, and I don't know about you guys, but when I get frustrated, just ask my wife, I don't think very well. I can almost shut down in high stress moments. I'm not the one to put on the firefighters. I'm just not. So practice for fun stuff, because if you if you go to a class and you take it and you don't touch it for a month, you don't remember what you learned, and you can't ever really fully remember everything. So you got to get the basics done. Focus on the basics. Yeah, that was it was because we did the Workshop 1 members retreat focusing on the basics when I gave the recipe to everybody and said, while you're doing the retreat, why don't you set aside and time to play every day, and then, you get better. So, yeah. Candy says, I don't understand all of the quilt programs. Well, I mean, I'm happy to help you. I'm not sure. I mean, um, we'll probably be almost done with question time for today. But if you want to ask me an email, I'm always happy to hear from you guys. But you just know that just like you can download the Creative Express, you can download the Design and Quilt. The Design and Quilt just goes into what's known as demo mode. So if you download the Design and Quilt and you want to try it, anybody could download it and try it from the RNK Software Club website, same one I already took you to in this video. You just click on and let Nick bring me back up there, Nick. So I'm going to go on to the website one more time, and I'll go back up to the top at the home, and it's this tab here, Design and Quilt. That's not a Floriani program. That's a Quilter Select software, and you would click there to download it. You can watch the training videos. There is a quick start guide to help you learn it. And then if you buy it, you can go to any Quilter Select retailer, and they will be happy to get you the code, that you need to buy it. It's available at lots and lots of sewing stores. And it's got a growing group of people. If you don't know, Quilter Select does a block of the week program in 2024. We've had our Design and Stitch, and I've been making quilt blocks every week. You guys, would you like to see them? Nick, would you bring me my quilt blocks? Mine are on the left. Your mom's are on the right.
Sure.
Leave your mom's.
Also asking, is the retreat recording in our files on Sunset Stitches?
Charlene?
If I have Workshop 1.
Yes, Charlene. If you have Workshop 1 and you go on Sunset Stitches, there is now, I'm on the left, Nick.
Yeah.
Yeah. If you go on Sunset Stitches and you're a member of Workshop 1, you'll go to the that's not all of them because there's two bigger ones. You'll get the download page, and there's now class 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Thank you, Nick. Look at me go, you guys. I'm a quilter. I've been quilting. Lorna and I usually do it together on the weekends. These are some of my blocks that I've made. This is like actual, piecing, manual piecing. Thank you so much to Quilter Select for. I'll share a link to that when I'm done class today in the comments or in the description, I guess. How you can join and get all the instructions come out every week, and if you join now, you can get all the past weeks, and then you get we're on block 18 I think this week or something like that. Anyway, I'm a couple of weeks behind. I'm trying to catch up this week was kind of my goal. I usually do it on the weekends, but when we had all those Loren not convocated, but she had her bachelor show, and there was just a few exciting weekends where I didn't find any time to quilting. Look at that, you guys. I made all this. So, embroidery is my main passion. Don't get me wrong. But I am finding that I do really enjoy quilting. And I think that eventually you'll see more embroidery quilts from me, because the real truth is I like to combine my passions. So a lot of these blocks just said, oh, there's spaces in there for embroidery designs, but I didn't have time, and I was just following the patterns and getting them made. So there, did anybody? Thank you for saying those look nice. Thank you so much, you guys. I did pretty good. I mean, I taken my time. Every block I got a little better. Prior to these blocks, the truth is most of my quilting was done by an embroidery machine. So I've come a long way, I guess. Whew. So next week there will be a new free font, but if you haven't come and visited, this week's free font is missing because it's not this, and it's not this one. These are all the past ones that you could get, but if you go on our website, bring me big one more time, Nick. If you go on, and this time when I say our, I mean when you go on the Sunset Stitches website and you go on embroidery fonts, then you will find that right here is the font of the week. It's called To The Point, and you click right there to download it. Yeah. And those are the past ones. So if you are a member of our embroidery club season 2, or Trevor or my FTC workshop number 4, then what happens is you can click on the this is the font archive page, and it tells you that you need to either be a member of the Trevor Trove or Workshop 1, Workshop 4, sorry, or Embroidery Club Season 2, basically. And it tells you to log in or join. And you can join if you have bought Workshop, 1, 2, or 3 and in the past. You don't need to buy them again. What you do is you join with a free account and then send me an email and I will add them for you. Okay, if you want to join for number 4, you can use the discount coupon Trevor99, and that will update the price. If you come in here and you click on there and you type in Trevor99 and click apply, that'll update the price. And you could probably buy the same price from any of your local Floriani stores if you want to. They might not have Workshop 4 in stock, but just know that they do have it at R&K Distributing, and that the local stores can order them if they want to. So, of course, we're happy if you want to buy it on our website. Thank you either way. But I've been doing a member blitz this year for all the people that had Workshop 1, 2, and 3 that had never joined our new website. And so if you have any friends that might have bought those discs with you back in the day, and you give them an elbow and be like, hey, join the website. There's, are you collecting the font of the week? Because those are free, right? Anybody can come every week, and you could have collected 16 fonts by now. So if you join Workshop 4, you can collect them all now. Anyway, that's it from me. Hey, Marilyn, you know what's so funny? She's from Pittsburgh, and we were wearing the gold last week, and Marilyn commented that we reminded her of the Pittsburgh Pirates, Steelers. And then I got thinking about the Leafs, and they're playing the gold and black Bruins, and I was like, go Leafs. But then I realized afterwards, wait a minute, we're not playing Pittsburgh, Trevor. We're playing Boston. Get it straight. I'm not that much of a hockey fan, just so you know. I was born in Toronto in 1968, and the last time the Leafs won the cup was 67. So I'm patiently waiting my whole life for them to have a winning championship year. And who knows, maybe it'll be this year. They're still in it. Anyway, you guys, it's so great to see a lot of my friends. And so thank you so much to all your comments, Marilyn and Wanda and Suzanne and Cheryl and Cindy. I'm just kind of scrolling through the comments. That Nick's helps me by watching these so that I can kind of just focus on what I'm supposed to be doing. But sometimes on these Fridays, I'm not quite sure what I'm going to be doing. And Nick and I decided that it would be nice to just open up for questions. And so you asked some nice questions today, you guys. Thanks for they don't all have to be like, oh, look what you can buy. If you want to get technical answers or something like that, I can't promise to answer everybody's question, but we'll stick around for 30 minutes to up to a maximum of an hour. And on that note, I think we have met our hour. So that means I should let you guys go and get on with finishing up my work for the week. I have quite a bit to do yet. So I hope you have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for dropping into Sunset Stitches today. Please drop by on Wednesday for Digitalk, or next Tuesday is the Spirograph Challenge. So hopefully we'll see you guys next Tuesday for the Spirograph Challenge. And FTC Workshop 4 Class 17 is on Tuesday morning. And so we'll see you two classes on Tuesday. Wednesday, we got our Digitalk. And Thursday, workshop. Oh my gosh. Nicholas, what are we doing next week? I have a busy week. Tuesday class, Wednesday class, or Facebook Live, Thursday class, Friday, Facebook Live again. So if you're a member of all my stuff, we'll spend a whole week together next week. And I can't wait. Until then, you guys have a wonderful day. Thank you so much for being here. Bye for now.